Welcome to New Independence Network. We're back once again. At long last, I know there's large breaks between the shows, and I'm trying to get them to be more regular, but let's be honest, I have another job. This is not something that I do for a living, though it's something that I might enjoy. The bills have to be paid, and they're not being paid through this. So this is just something fun and informative, and something I'm passionate about, but I just don't have all the time to dedicate to it that I'd like. But we're trying. I'm trying very hard. So let's try it again. I'm going to hit where it's very important. At least we'll start there. So this month, it's Gay Pride Month. Don't worry, we haven't forgotten it's Gay Pride Month because we're being beaten about the head and shoulders over the fact that it's Gay Pride Month. We have to remember the suffering and pain that the gay community has had to endure over centuries throughout history. However, when they're having parades and they're wearing their rainbow attire and they're wearing their fishnet shirts and their assless chaps and flaunting out in public, that's not reminding us of the suffering. That's sticking in our face that you're gay. Do we have a straight parade? A straight pride parade? Oh, but how can you can't? A straight pride parade, the majority of the country is straight. So what? It doesn't matter the size of the group. You should be able to have your pride and show it. I mean, we have a 4th of July, an Independence Day, where all Americans, or at least the ones who are here legally, we're all Americans, and we all celebrate, most of us, except for those who hate the country, celebrate the birth of the country, the fact that we are Americans. So if we can all celebrate that, then how come the majority of straight people can't celebrate the fact that they're straight? That's an interesting question. Oh, wait, you don't want us to stick our sexuality in your face. You can't do that. You can't stick sexuality in our face because it makes us feel like we're different. You are showing us that you're different every time you have a gay pride event. I was at Walt Disney World years ago. Oh, had to have been 5-6 years ago. And the parade is going on Main Street. And there was a group of 5 gentlemen that were about 5 or 6 that were gay, clearly, because they were being very flamboyant about it. They were just putting it out there, being very flamboyantly gay. I don't know when the last time you were able to find a person who was being flamboyantly straight. Don't know if there's such a term, because straight is just straight. You're just straight. But these gentlemen were being, gentlemen I use loosely, were being flamboyantly gay and making a spectacle of themselves, drawing attention to their gayness, clearly. So here comes a band, a high school marching band, and at the bringing up the rear of the band is a color guard, the girls with the flags. So they're walking and they're waving their flags in time to the music, and amidst all the girls who are in their skirts or dresses, the long skirts, is one young high school boy wearing pants, marching with the girls waving his flag. Okay, we saw it, went, all right, he wants to be in the color guard. No big deal. Is he gay? Don't know. Don't care. He's just there doing his thing. Rock and roll. But then here come the 6 gay men. And they start singling out the gay boy, the teenage boy, who might be in question right now, might be in the, not sure if he wants to really be gay or not. Yeah, he might be in that awkward phase of his life, trying to find his sexual identity, so to speak. I'll get back to that point, sexual identity, because there's a finding your sexual identity, and then there's quote unquote gender dysphoria. We'll get back to that. We'll come back to that. So they're mocking this kid, kind of rooting him on. But join us. Join us. You're one of us. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You're doing this in Walt Disney World, among families, with children, singling out a high school boy. Because why? Because you're so insecure with your own sexuality that you have to try to impose it on other people, on young people? Well, that's sadly what a large portion of the militant gay society does. Now, let me differentiate very clearly before the rest of the LGBTQ WTFs get crazy on me here, okay? There are gay people, gay in the broad sense, including gay, lesbian. I don't say LGBT. I don't know. It's gay or straight. If you're gay, you're all the gay. It's just what it is. You're gay, even if you're questioning whatever. You're gay. We'll work on semantics later. So we're just using. I'm not using it as a derogatory term. I'm just using it as a general descriptive, like seeing a group of people, boys and girls included, say, "Hey guys, what's up?" That's basically the same thing. Okay. Feminists would lose their minds. We're not guys. We're not. Don't worry about it. So anyway, the gay community is very, very different than the militant gay community. What do I mean? The gay community are people that you don't even know are gay. They're just regular people who want to live their lives, do their jobs, and not worry about it. Just, I want to go in there. I want to be an American who just happens to be gay, who likes to either be with a woman or be with a man in the privacy of my own home. And I want to go to work and raise my family and do what I do. That's it. I don't want any judgment. I don't want to call attention to my sexuality. And that's a regular gay American. No problem. Don't care. It's cool. I'm all about it. Then you have the militant gays in the country. And the militant gays are the ones that, as I mentioned earlier when I opened the program, wear the fishnet shirts to expose their nipples, wear the assless chaps, wear dildos on their outside of their clothing to be funny, to call attention to the fact that they like the male member if they're a guy. Those are the ones who are militant. And they make a very bad name for the rest of the gay community, which I believe is the vast majority, to be honest with you, who just go through their life. I mean, there's people that you wouldn't even know are gay. You assume sometimes they seem a little bit effeminate or certain things, how they respond to certain things, but there's certain people you wouldn't even know that they were gay. And it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to most of us. Pretty much, there's some people it matters regardless, but it doesn't matter to most of us because you're just being yourself. You're just being who you are, which is cool. However, the militants have to take it that 1 to 10 steps further. And they have to call such attention to the fact that they're gay that it turns off not just straight people who are accepting of gays, it turns off other gay people who abhor the militants because it gives them a bad name. You know, the equivalency to this is if you compare it to Black America, okay? Black America. Well, they're all Americans who happen to be black, in my eyes. I don't care who you are. If you're talented, you're talented. If you are a hard worker, you're a hard worker. I don't care if you're purple. Don't care. If you work hard, you do your job, and you stay out of trouble, fine. No matter if you are a white person or whatever color you are, and you're a troublemaker and you don't get your job done, well, then we have problems. But in the black community, there is a faction of people. I call them, they're not the race hustlers. They're the victims of the race hustlers. See, the race hustlers are Al Sharpton, Barack Obama, Jesse Jackson. They make money and garner fame off of the fact that they are black. That's what they do. They have to use their race to convince others that they need to be treated differently and convince others that they are being treated differently. They have to do that. Because if there were actually equality in this country, in that industry, the race hustling industry, that would die. There would be no business remaining if there actually were equality. The majority of the people in this country, the black Americans in this country, they just do their job, go to work. They just do what they do. And that's fine. I don't care. They're great. No problem. It's the fringe, the extremists who walk around acting like the whole world is racist, who walk around acting like they just got off of the slave ship. I mean, some of these people talk like they were just taken out of chains. Guys, slavery was over 150 years ago. You don't hear you do hear some of them, but you hear, and those are the ones that are on the reservations, and there's extremists in every group. But your Native Americans, they had everything taken away, and they were slaughtered, wiped out. There are a couple left over, and they're put in little special places to live. But they don't complain nearly as much as some of the other militants do, and including those in the gay community. And it comes back to the fact where I've said this here a number of times. If you want to be equal, then congratulations, you're equal. But the minute you're treated equally for some of these people, treated like everybody else, then they say, well, wait a second, you can't treat me like that because I'm black, because I'm a woman, because I'm gay. I need special treatment, special recognition, simply for the color of my skin or my gender or choice of gender. Well, that's not how it works. Because now you don't want equality. Now you want to be separated from the rest. And that's what the Democrats do. The liberals love it. And they love the fact that you're falling into their trap. The liberals love to break people apart in groups. Barack Obama was quoted recently as saying, I believe he was in his car, his limo, after the election of Donald J. Trump. And he was quoted as saying, well, I guess people just want to stay in their own tribes. Maybe we had it wrong. People just want to stay in their own tribes. No. Our only tribe is Americans there, Barack. Our tribe, quote unquote, is Americans. We all want to be Americans. We don't want to be different Americans. I'm Italian and I'm German. I don't say I'm an Italian American. I don't say I'm a German American. I don't differentiate. I'm an American. Period. Family came over on the boat. Some of my family settled the country. Different parts of the world I am from. Other people the same way. They're just Americans. That's what we are. There's no tribe. We're not ignoring our own individual culture. We can celebrate that in our home. We can sit there and have our 7 fishes Catholic dinner. We could do that. We could do all the things. You can have your Passover. You can have whatever you want. The Sabbath, and celebrate that. Doesn't matter. Religion, culture, doesn't matter. But when it comes down to it, we're all Americans. But you see, Barack Obama and the liberals, they see us all as tribes. They see us all as tribes. A tribe of Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, gay Americans, female Americans, LGBTQ, WTF Americans, Muslim Americans, everything but Christians. Christians are evil. Christians are the ones that are on the outskirts. We can't have a tribe, so to speak. If your religion is your tribe and you're Muslim, good to go. If your religion under Barack Obama and the liberals is you're Jewish, now there's 2 types of Jews in the liberal mindset. Okay? There's the good Jew and the bad Jew. This is liberal speak. Now, this is liberals. Good Jew and bad Jew. This is what they think, folks. Don't deny me. This is what they think. Good Jew. Jewish person who ignores Israel, supports the Democrat cause, no matter how badly we hate Israel and turn against them. Barack Obama despised Israel. Despised it. Why did he despise Israel? Well, he's a Muslim, folks. Come on. Don't pretend like he's Christian, because he's not. He's a Muslim. He just pretended to be a Christian because he knew the country, 78% of us are Christian. But he hated Israel. Did the Democrats who were Jewish, Steven Spielberg, Barbara Streisand, et al., did they not vote for Barack Obama? Did they say, how could you be mean to Israel? Natalie Portman, who was born in Israel. Born in Israel. Did she vote for Barack Obama? Oh, yeah. True to the liberal cause. Good Jew. She's a good Jew. Bad Jew? Someone who doesn't vote Democrat. Someone who does not like the way the Democrats treat our most fierce ally, Israel. They're the bad Jews. That's how the left divides that tribe. So there's, they like Jews in name only, but they celebrate their religion. But to the liberals, it's Jews in name only. You're Jewish, but you're not really a to the roots Jew. It's like saying they don't like black people who embrace Africa as their home. That's kind of what it's like. If you were going to divide it up, if you said the black community was that way, then you'd have the blacks in America who don't acknowledge the fact that they may have descended from Africans or were brought over on slave ships. They hate those people. Then the ones that love Africa, this is what they would do. Then the ones that love Africa are the ones that they would hate, you see, because they love their homeland. But that doesn't work that way in the black community. In the black community, you're all black. As long as you're a liberal, as long as you believe in the Democrat cause, then you're on their side. You're the approved tribe. So every religion besides Christianity and Judaism, bad Judaism in their eyes, is accepted. Christianity is not. Why? Because it goes against what the Democrats want. Now let me explain that to you. What do the Democrats want? The Democrats want to be able to have people beholden to the federal government. Their God needs to be the government. That's what the Democrats want. Your God is the government. We feed you. We clothe you. We give you jobs. We give you the approval. We are judgment. We are the judge, the jury. We offer judgment, and you come to us for penance by way of taxes and penalties. That's what Democrats want. That's their religion, government. And if you are a Christian, you don't adhere to their religion. And your religion has a certain moral code to it. As a Christian, you believe in the teachings of Christ. Now, I'm just using Christians right now because that's the biggest enemy of the left. The biggest enemy of the left are Christians. You believe in the teachings of Christ. You believe in being good to your neighbor. You believe in ethics, values, morals. Now, it's not to say that no Democrats have morals. Remember, there are Democrats who are moral people who are still Christians. We're talking liberals. Liberals pretend to be Christians, but they do some of the most deviant, sordid, twisted things in their lifestyle. They are dishonest. They screw people for money. They lie incessantly. They will try to destroy a person's life. Look at what they're doing to Donald Trump. They're trying to destroy not just Donald Trump. They're destroying Flynn, Manafort, every single buddy, Trump's attorney, if you are their enemy, and especially if you are a Christian and a Republican, they are going to destroy you because they have no ethics. Their ethics all revolve around, if you want to give them an ethical code, it revolves all around the government, power. Who is in charge? Who runs the show? Who has the power? Who has the money? We do. You must be beholden to us. Pray at the feet of your God, the government. That is what liberals believe. And they don't have to be ethical. They don't have to be because they don't care. Pervy Weinstein is a twisted, disgusting pig being put on trial, thrown under the bus. Now keep in mind, if Hillary Clinton were elected, there's no way that Weinstein would have been found guilty of anything, accused of anything. It would have been brushed under the rug. The Me Too movement would have never happened. So why did the Me Too movement happen? I'm going to digress and then come back to my point. Why did the Me Too movement happen? The Me Too movement happened in brief. Maybe I'll do a full-on podcast of this. But the Me Too movement happened to take out Donald Trump. It's to clean the skeletons out of the closet of the Democrat Party. You had Bill Clinton, you had Weiner and his perverted pictures to underage girls. You had a litany of sexual impropriety, sexual harassment, rape, assault on the Democrat side from their bundlers, from their big donors. Kevin Spacey, super lib, pedophile, going after young boys. A host of them. Woody Allen, pedophile, even married his own adopted daughter. Disgusting. They embrace Roman Polanski, Meryl Streep, the great Meryl Streep. That crone stands and applauds Roman Polanski for being awarded an Oscar for The Pianist, even though he is banned from this country because he is fleeing prosecution for raping an underage girl. But Hollywood applauds. They applaud Roman Polanski. They love it. Ben Affleck, super lib, groping women on MTV interviews. This is what they do. But the Democrats had to clean their closet. They had to pretend to have ethics and moral values, all because they were trying to out-Trump Trump. If we can clean our own closet, Bill Clinton, the chief offender, the offender-in-chief. There's my name for him now. Just came up with it. The offender-in-chief. They're making that new movie Predator. Making a new movie. We would call it Sexual Predator. Sexual Predator starring Bill Clinton. Starring Pervy Weinstein. Directed by Pervy Weinstein. Or produced by Pervy Weinstein starring Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey. Directed by Woody Allen. Sexual Predator coming to a theater near you. Bill Clinton is the offender-in-chief. The chief sexual predator. They had to clean their closet. Because if they're able to clean out their closet, get all the skeletons out of the way, they can say, we're as pure as a wind-driven snow. Look what we did. We threw all of our people, all of our flaming libs, under the bus because they were perverts. Well, the ones that aren't going to hurt us in the long run. I mean, they'll be back in the fray in about 10 years. But we're going to throw them under the bus now as sacrificial lambs. The real important liberals, they ignore what they do. Matt Lauer, another perv. Surprise, surprise. I mean, there's a lot more of them, but it's being brushed under the rug. There's a whole list of sexual deviancy from the Democrats in Congress. Oh, I'm sure there are some Republicans too. Don't get me wrong. The establishment is scum. But we're talking Democrats right now. And the Democrats, there's a ton of it. Sexual deviancy. And the ones in power, the congressmen, senators, congresspersons, are being ignored. They're not being thrown under the bus. No, the ones who don't matter are. But the real important power brokers? No. They would never do that. This is all about cleaning the closet so they can say that we are pure and Trump is scum. He's filthy. He's a vile pig. That's what they want you to believe. And the whole reason they want you to believe that is because he is a challenge to the establishment. And he wants us all to think like Americans, not tribes, all groups. So the Democrats love the fact that they have no moral code. They embrace it, as I've illustrated, just through their sexual deviancy in the establishment itself specifically. And they hate Christians because instead of considering Christians all Americans like Donald Trump does, with everybody else, but wait a minute, didn't he come out against Muslims? He came out against the Muslims who are attacking this country. There are good Muslims, I know several, who live in this country and just do their job. They just work like anybody else. They're not the violent Muslims. There's extremists on every religion, folks. Don't think that Christianity is exempt from that. I mean, have you ever talked to a Southern Baptist? No offense to the Baptists. I'm talking to certain Southern Baptists who are pretty crazy. I was told by a girl I was dating that because I'm Catholic, I'm going to hell. We dated for 3 dates. And on our third date, she said, "Oh, you're Catholic?" I said, "Yeah." She went, "Oh, you're going to hell." I said, "I am? Why?" "Oh, because you're Catholic." I said, "But why?" "Well, it's just because that's what it is. You don't believe in Christ the right way. You're Catholic." I went, "Geez, doesn't the Bible say, 'Judge not lest ye be judged'?" "Who said that?" "Doesn't the Bible say, 'Ye who is without sin cast the first stone'? Wasn't that the book of Matthew?" And she froze and didn't know what to say. Shocker. But so there's extremists in every religion. Some extremists go too far. They bomb abortion clinics. They kill in the name of their religion because they're crazy. But your Muslims are the ones, the extremist crazies, who are attacking this country regularly, and freedom in the Western world. They're the ones to whom Donald Trump was referring. So Donald Trump isn't breaking the country into groups. He's talking about all Americans. Illegals are not Americans. They are illegal by name, which is why the Democrats want to call them undocumented. Because if you call them illegal aliens, as they've been called for decades, you're branding them illegal in the name itself, which is accurate. It is an accurate representation, description of what they are. They've broken the law. And when people say, "Oh, illegals have come here and they haven't done anything wrong, they haven't broken the law," they broke the law by coming here illegally, by not going through proper channels. They're just trying to get a fresh start. They broke the law. They're criminals by default. The minute they stepped foot across that border, they broke the law. So they're not included in the Americans we talk about. We talk about America. That's our quote-unquote tribe. It's all Americans. Donald Trump's tribe is everybody in this country. He wants everybody in this country to do well. He doesn't want groups to do well. He wants everybody to do well. The establishment Republicans, the rhinos, the Jeb Bushes, the Marco Rubios, and no, folks, he's not a conservative. Marco Rubio is a rhino. He is a big-time establishment rhino backed by the big bundlers. The McCains, the Romneys. These people, even George W. Bush, he was a rhino too. A little more conservative in his ideology than your average rhino, but he was a rhino too. And they want the wealthy to do well. They want the elites to do well. They want the businesses to do well. Your rhinos, your extremist conservatives want businesses to do well to the detriment of the people in this country. That's why they're willing to let businesses go overseas with no repercussion and willing to enter into ridiculous trade agreements with other countries to the detriment of our country and our workers, because it helps their elites. It helps their ideology. So the rhinos, the establishment Republicans, do not care about all Americans. They care about their groups. The rest of America, well, they think they're going to benefit as a result. That's the same way that liberals work, except for they break it down into smaller groups. Like I said earlier, Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Muslim Americans, gay Americans, LGBTQ WTF Americans. Everything but Christian Americans. And when it comes to Gay Pride Month, I have to worry about focus on one group, the Christians. Why? But why, man? It's Gay Pride Month. Why are you focusing on... I have to focus on one group, the Christians. But why? Why are you focusing on one group? Why are you focusing on the Christians in Gay Pride Month? Because the Gay Pride movement, their big mantra is that they've been persecuted for hundreds of years, throughout history, persecuted for being gay. I'm sorry to rain on your parade, but Christians, as a whole, have been persecuted more than anybody in history. Yes, that includes slaves before the Civil War, in the foundation of this country, formation of this country. Christians have been persecuted from time immemorial. Mennonites persecuted in Denmark or Holland, who had to flee the country to go with William Penn to found the United States in the 1600s. Christians who were set to die in the Colosseum or enslaved by the Romans. Christians who were killed by Adolf Hitler. Christians have been persecuted for millennia. The most persecuted religion. And today, Christians are still being persecuted by the left and by the radical, militant, gay society. The radical militant gays who are trying to divide gays and use them because they are we should call them the left gays, the left-wing gays, the liberal gays. Because the liberal gays are your extremists. They're your militants. They want to divide because it does good for the Democrats' division policy. The division policy of the left. Let's divide them into further groups, make them feel like they need something. So we can give them handouts. So they can be beholden to the government. We did it with blacks. We're trying it with Hispanics. Tried it with Muslims. So let's do it with the gay community too. We want them to fall in lockstep with our ideology. And part of that ideology is persecuting Christians. You see, that is ignored during the entire Gay Pride Month. We just had a Supreme Court case came down, 7-2 victory in favor of the defendant, who was a Christian baker who did not want to make a cake for a gay wedding. It was against his religious beliefs. My question, first off, when I saw those things happening, he wasn't the only one that it happened to. There were other people to whom it happened as well prior to that. Fortunately, his case has now set a precedent, so it will be less possible for that to happen going forward. But he was asked to make a cake and said it's for a gay wedding, and he said, no, I can't do that. It's against my religious beliefs. Okay, more power to him. He stood by his religious beliefs. Fine. They could have picked any baker, but they singled him out. And they could have gone to another baker after that and said, okay, fine, I'll go to someone else. Instead, they said, we're going to have to go after you because of your religion. God forbid you actually practice your own religious beliefs in your business. It's his right to do so. It's a privately owned business. It's not a publicly held company. So they went after him. We had that company called Sweet Cakes, who had to pay something like $137,000 or some ridiculous fine because they would not bake a cake for a gay wedding. And I think the public did a fundraising for them, and they raised them the money so they could pay it and cover all of their costs. Because Americans are good like that. And we know when people are being shafted. And those people were being shafted. Screwed over simply because they are what? Christians. That's the facts, folks. Christians are being persecuted not just by the left, but by the militant gay society, the left-wing liberal gay agenda. They want to destroy, like I said, there's a very clear difference between the liberal gay agenda, the militant gay agenda, and gays. Night and day difference between the two, which I illustrated earlier. The liberal gay agenda wants to destroy Christianity because they're in lockstep with the Democrats, with the liberals in this country who want to destroy Christianity. That's what they're doing. That's the game they're playing. And the Christians are being persecuted and it's being ignored. Ignored. I'm looking for the hashtag. Maybe we should start a hashtag. You know, when the Supreme Court ruling came down, the 7-2 victory over the prosecution who was, they wanted to fine the baker for violating their rights so they don't make a cake for them. And the Supreme Court, only two people stood, they were on the opposing side. Who were they? Sonia Sotomayor, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That old crone. The Crypt Keeper, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The Crypt Keeper and Sotomayor both said, hey, we're going to vote against a person's right to practice their religion. They voted against it. Constitutionally, they just, their interpretation of the Constitution's confusing to me. They put their liberal agenda first. But even Kagan, who is another lib, big lib, she said, no, I'm siding with the other side because it's improper to violate someone's religious beliefs. 7-2. It wasn't even like a 5-4. It was a 7-2 clear-cut victory. And what did the left do? The left in the left gay agenda, they said, leftist gays, they said, it's a minor bump in the road. Oh, it doesn't matter. It's just semantics. There's no big deal. If they had won that case, they would be shouting from the rooftops. They would have hashtagged the hell out of it. Love wins. Remember that after the gay marriage ruling by the Supreme Court, which is, keep in mind, folks, just because the Supreme Court says that gay marriage is legal, it doesn't make it legal. The states have the right to make their own determination. They really do. It's not legal. They ruled from the bench. They wrote legislation from the bench. If you want gay marriage to be really legal, really legal, not just by a court of law, if you want it to be completely legal, then put it up for a vote. Move for a constitutional amendment. Well, it's protected under the 14th Amendment. No, the 14th Amendment was very clear, written for slaves in this country. That's the 14th Amendment. It was written for slaves who became free people. And you can't use that in the same way. But the Supreme Court, of course, says, 5-4. Yes, you can. No, you can't. You really can't. They're splitting hairs because it was the popular thing to do at the time. This case with this baker is clear cut. Religious discrimination. Discrimination based solely on the fact of his religion and religious beliefs. Notice how the militant gays, the liberal gay agenda, they don't go to Muslim bakers and say, hey, will you bake a cake for us? Because the Muslims are going to say, hell no, it's against our religious beliefs. And if they fought the Muslims, the repercussions would be horrible. Christians are very peace-loving. We're not going to attack you and blow up your house. Our militant side, some of them might, but for the most part, no, not really. They're afraid of the Muslims. But again, Muslims don't fall into they're one of their protected groups on the left. So they won't go after Muslims because they have no desire to do so. It's Christians that are at fault. And they had their little hashtag, love wins! Love wins! After the Supreme Court legislation from the bench. Like I said, if you want religion to be legal, I posted this question right after the ruling. If you want religion to be equal or legal, if you want gay marriage to be legal across the board, nationwide, with no reservation, pass an amendment. The problem is you'll never get it passed. You'd have to have a 2/3 vote. It would never happen because the public would never approve it. So they had to legislate from the bench. That was the only way to get things done. Much like Barack Obama's entire presidency. His entire presidency, that's just why his agenda is being undone so dramatically by Donald Trump, President Trump, because everything he did was by fiat, by executive order. He didn't pass laws. And when he did pass a law, he would violate the law through executive order. He'd modify it. It was very easy to undo everything. Just undo the executive orders. Then you pass laws to make everything solid. Because once you have an actual law passed, it's very hard to not have it passed anymore. Once you have an amendment, it's very, very hard, nearly impossible to repeal an amendment to the Constitution. So if you're really that firm about it, go for a constitutional amendment. Get gay marriage legal. Cool. If 2/3 of the public in this country approve, and 2/3 of the states approve and say, yes, we agree to make marriage legal across the country, cool. Rock and roll. Go on with your bad self. But right now, it's not because it was legislated from the bench. As long as some states will not allow it anyway, and people can be fault, but they don't want to deal with the case. So it's not legal, but it is legal. It's a gray area. This is what legislating from the bench is bad. The Supreme Court is not designed to legislate from the bench. The Supreme Court is designed to interpret the constitutionality of existing law. That's their job. And there was no existing law in gay marriage. There was no law in marriage. There's no marriage law. But they wrote one from the bench, basically, kind of. So, after that passed, from the hilltops, love wins! Hashtag love wins! And they chanted and cheered and paraded and celebrated. But then this Supreme Court ruling comes down, 7-2, in favor of the Christian, who was being discriminated against because he's a Christian. And they think, no big deal. Well, why don't we shout from the rooftops? Religion wins. Christ wins. Religion wins. Freedom of religion wins. Hashtag religion wins. Maybe I'll start that hashtag on our Facebook page. Religion wins. Because that's really what happened. The assault on Christianity has been incessant specifically throughout Barack Obama's term, because he's a Muslim and hates Christians. A Muslim pretending to be a Christian. A Sino. Christian. Or Chino? Oh, I don't know if that's racist or not. A Christian in name only. Because he's not. But here we are in Gay Pride Month with a nice big victory right to kick off Gay Pride Month. Big victory. And they just, whatever. So they're having the little gay pride parades and they're doing all this stuff. But then what they're doing also is commandeering symbols. They're commandeering the rainbow. That's an interesting point that someone brought up. The rainbow. Now, what is the rainbow the symbol of? What is it? Depends on which generation to whom you speak. The rainbow, some would say, it's the symbol of the Rainbow Coalition, which was, I believe that was Al Sharpton's group, or Jesse Jackson's group, one of the two. Kind of one and the same, both race hustlers. The Rainbow Coalition was their little group for colored people, right? Some would say it's because of the gay cause. It's the symbol of the gay cause. You support the gay cause, the rainbow. Actually, the rainbow in text dated thousands of years ago is listed as God's covenant to man after the flood and Noah's Ark. When God made it rain for 40 days and 40 nights, according to the Bible, and flooded the world and killed everybody, yay for, except for Noah and his family. We believe the story the way it's told. He put a rainbow in the sky after the rains to establish his covenant with man that he will never do something like that again. Never make it rain like that again. That was the Bible and your religious scholars will tell you the same thing. The Bible is stories. It's not to be taken literally. It's translations. The earlier Old Testament. God didn't create the earth in 7 days. The Red Sea was not the Red Sea. It was, in history, it was the Reed Sea. But the miracle was there's an area of the Reed Sea, which is right down from the Red Sea. And in the Reed Sea, the wind blows at a certain point at a certain time of day, and it clears the water out to allow you to pass. It's just a miraculous little event. And it just happened when Moses needed it to happen, when they were fleeing the Egyptians. So the rainbow is a story to explain why there's a rainbow. That's kind of what it is. We know what rainbows are. Rainbows are caused by the light refracting through raindrops, and it causes a prism effect, acts as a prism, and it creates a rainbow. So the gay society has taken the rainbow, and they said, this is our symbol of gay unity. That's their, I don't know why a rainbow, but they chose the rainbow. Maybe because it's flamboyant. I don't know. And the rainbow is their symbol now. Well, the problem I have with that, and many people do, is not that it's a Christian symbol, because it really isn't a Christian symbol. It was just defined by the Bible. The rainbow is just a rainbow. That's all it is. It's something pretty. In school, we were taught Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, to remember the colors in the rainbow. Roy G. Biv. It's just, for some people, it's scientific. For me, it's kind of cool. I think they're pretty. Most people think they're really pretty because they're very colorful. So they had to commandeer, co-opt the symbol. When I was in college, there was a symbol. There was a day where they say you have to wear a certain type of clothing to support the gay community for this one day. Wear this clothing, you support the community. And the problem is, like, everybody wore that. It was blue jeans. Wear a pair of blue jeans and you support the gay community on this one particular day. It was Blue Jean Day, it was called. Well, everyone in college wears blue jeans. It's like your standard form of dress. I was like, they're commandeering, co-opting blue jeans, which is like the laziest thing to do. If you want people to really participate, then say everyone wear purple that day. Or everybody wear a tutu that day. Whatever. Something. Wear a crazy hat. If you support the gay community. Whatever. Wear assless chaps. Wear a fishnet shirt. So they picked blue jeans. And of course, just because we refuse, the straight people on campus would say, you know what, it's a bunch of crap, we're going to wear slacks or sweatpants. And we did. On that one day. Because they took the easy way out. See, they're co-opting things. Now they're co-opting the rainbow. Well, I'm sorry, guys, but what that does is that's just propaganda. And here's what I mean by that. Walt Disney World celebrates their Gay Pride Month. And they just came out. I call it Lib Disney now. So it used to be Walt Disney, now it's Lib Disney. Because it's become you don't even realize it. It's like putting a frog in a pot of hot water. Disney's slowly turning up the water, the heat, to boil the frog alive. Little by little, they're integrating liberalism into the Walt Disney World culture. I'll have a whole separate, either an article or a podcast on that, because it's so clear if you stop and pay attention to it. I'll lay it all out for you. But Disney is slowly transforming its all-American park into a liberal bastion of propaganda. You don't even realize it's happening, and you don't want to admit it because it's Disney, and we all love Walt Disney World, and it's so great. But if you pay attention to what they're doing, it's irrefutable. And one of the things they just recently did is they said, we're releasing new Mickey Mouse ears with rainbows on them. The ears are rainbow colored in honor of the Gay Pride Month. Funny. They introduced the rainbow ears and rainbow pins and rainbow shirts and rainbow dolls and a whole list of rainbow products. Now, here's what I mean by co-opting and taking the easy way out. Disney is all about making money, but they're also about passing subtext the liberal agenda. So they're putting out all this rainbow paraphernalia, right? Little kids love rainbows. Little girls love rainbows. And who's going to buy the rainbows? The rainbow stuff. Little girls. And parents will buy it for their little kids who like rainbows. People who like rainbows are going to buy rainbow stuff. Does that mean they support the gay community? No. But they're going to buy it, and the whole reason for Disney to make this stuff in the first place is to support the gay community. So all of their products, all of their merchandise with the rainbow on it, the new merchandise that they released, was designed specifically to honor Gay Pride Month in Disney and the gay community. And now people are going to buy it, and they're going to walk around sporting their rainbow apparel, rainbow attire everywhere they go, and they're going to say, subtextually, look, they support the gay community, even though they may not. But they're still wearing it because they think rainbows are pretty. See, so that's the lazy way out. You're using a rainbow for that? And then you're going to brainwash kids, because now you have a whole generation of kids who are going to come up thinking that, when they get older, they're going to go, well, rainbows about the gay community. They're okay with that. We're okay. And they're going to think that, I've supported it my whole life. I wore the rainbow stuff and it didn't matter to me. But it does matter at a certain level. Yeah, granted, it's just a rainbow. But why not create your own symbol? Why use the rainbow? Because it's the lazy way out. It's like that Blue Jean Day. Everyone likes rainbows. Very few people don't. I think they're gorgeous. I was stationed in Hawaii for years when I was in the Army. And it's a regular occurrence to see rainbows in Hawaii. Rainbows are, that's why it's called a rainbow state. They're an everyday thing. And the reason, it's not because it rains in Hawaii a lot. It might rain in the mountains in the rainforest area, but the rest of the island, it doesn't. You'll be driving down the road. It'll be a clear blue sky, and then all of a sudden, just rain, a mist of rain will pee across your windshield. You're like, what the hell is this? There's not a cloud in the sky. But it's being blown in from somewhere because the trade winds come in from the north. And if there's rain in the rainforest, it blows that rain towards you. So you'll be laying on a beach with the sun beating down on you and the waves behind you. And then all of a sudden, you'll feel rain hit you. You're like, where's this coming from? And you look off and there's a rainforest off in the mountains, and the wind is blowing the mist from that rain onto you a little bit. And that's why you have rainbows, because you have fine particles of water flying through the atmosphere on a regular basis. I walked out of one of my buildings on my base one day, and I saw a rainbow, perfect rainbow, end to end, double rainbow, matter of fact. They're a very common occurrence in Hawaii, double rainbows. I saw a triple a couple times, but doubles, they're like all the time. It was gorgeous. I was like, wow. And it wasn't really a cloud in the sky. It was just this massive rainbow. Light refracting through the raindrops. That's just how it works, through water particles. Do you know a rainbow really isn't curved, to be honest with you? If you took there was a photo I saw of this. They went into the air. It flew above a rainbow. I don't know how many thousands of feet up in the air. And the rainbow is actually a circle. It's actually a circle. So what the gay community is we're only seeing part of it. See, we're seeing part of the rainbow because it's obscured by terrain from our vantage point on the surface of the earth, whatever it is that we're seeing. We're seeing a portion of the rainbow or how it's being refracted. So a rainbow itself, if you're high enough away, you're going to see the full circle of it. But when you're lower, looking from the earth perspective, you might see a fraction of it, a quarter of it, half of it, whatever it is. So really, the gay agenda, they're the liberal gays, they're adopting half of a rainbow, a portion of a rainbow. A real rainbow is like a circle. It's not really a bow at all. It's really a rain arch, but they're adopting a portion of it. Well, here's my take on it. If they want to claim the rainbow, then we have to take the rainbow back. There's a method. Let's take the rainbow back. When I was in Hawaii, I would look over the rainforest and I'd see sometimes a rainbow in a straight line. But how? Because of the way they laid across the mist and the rain refracted through the raindrops, or the sun refracted the raindrops, and it laid over the rainforest, and it just created a straight line. Well, if the gay agenda is the curved rainbow, then why don't we take the rainbow back and make it the straight rainbow, the straight bow, or that's good. The straight bow? No? We'll just make that. Our own rainbow is our straight rainbow. Because we are straight. And we have to support our lifestyle. Because why can't we, back to my original point. See, I'll get back to my point I told you I would. Why can't we celebrate being straight? The vast majority of the country is straight. Less than 4% are gay. Or LGBTQ WTF, less than 4% are in that category. So why can't we celebrate being straight? 96% of Americans, more than 96%, are straight. So we should celebrate that. If we celebrate the birth of the country, we can celebrate being straight in mass and have pride and not be guilty for celebrating our straightness. And we have a nice little straight rainbow. So what we'll do is maybe we'll create a straight rainbow that we can start wearing on our apparel, posting it on your website, and we can start hashtagging religion wins. We'll figure that out. So that's the point, folks. That's my point. Having some fun here. Having some fun, but it goes back to the original point. The overall point is that liberalism loves to co-opt society. They break us down into pieces. They break us down into groups, into divisions, into tribes, as Barack Obama calls them. And your establishment does the same thing. Breaks us down into groups. Fewer groups than the liberals do, but the establishment right do the same thing. They love to break everybody up into groups. And the Gay Pride Month is just another way to focus on division. I'm still waiting on the Italian Pride Month, German Pride Month, Greek Pride Month. Still waiting on those. The Christian Pride Month. We could have that around Christmas time, but we can't say Merry Christmas anymore, or we couldn't. Now that President Trump is in office, we can. But under Barack Obama, you couldn't say Merry Christmas. Can't have Pride. You can celebrate the holiday for a month, but you can't celebrate Christmas. So there goes your Christian Pride Month there. What about Easter? That's the biggest time of the year for Christians, the rebirth of Christ. You might get a day if you're lucky. But you can't say Easter anymore. You got to call that spring break or spring holiday. See, Christians don't get a Christian Pride Month. Baptists don't get a Baptist Pride Month. Straight people don't get a Straight Pride Month. But liberals will give every other group a Pride Month simply to further illustrate the fact that they are different, for fear that they will actually realize that they're all Americans working toward a common cause. And that cause does not rely on the government as their God. This is New Independence Network. It's been a long one because I've been away for a while. Sorry if I went a bit off tangent, but I came right back around to it as I always do. So, thank you so much for listening. We will be back again in the very near future. I'm get a little fire in my belly and I want to keep this going. So, thanks again. Until next time, have yourselves a great day.